This podcast is sponsored by BB Makes, a family-run personalised gift company. From sports bottles to team merchandise, BB Makes has you covered. They will happily work with you to create unique designs for your perfect gift, with a wide range of products, all able to be personalised with names, quotes, pictures and much more. Head over to bbmakes.com. That's www.bebemakes.com and use the code COIS so they know that we sent you. Oh, and of course, come on you Spurs.
Welcome to the Spurs News Podcast, your home for all things Tottenham Hotspur. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of the Spurs News Podcast. I am Sam. Joining me to talk all things Tottenham Hotspur, it's Stefan.
Hey buddy.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm good. How was your birthday?
Shit. How was your 15th of January?
Yeah, about the same, to be fair.
Yeah, no, I fucking ain't my birthday. Ruined again. Okay, so we got a lot to talk about on the show today. One thing I'm going to kick off with straight away, if you've messaged in any questions or topics for this week, apologies. I will roll them over, but I sort of got a few things that I want to kind of chat about today and focus the show on. So we're going to kick off with the North London derby, which was last night as we record this. We lost 2-1 at the Emirates. To be blunt and to be honest, and it's one of these things that I don't know where people's heads are with stuff like this right now. There is for me, a massive gap between us and Arsenal again. It's happened over the 4 years since Pochettino was fired. They have marched forward. We have stood still, perhaps gone around in a circle a few times, fallen over, got back up, took a step forward, then gone, oh look, something's shiny over there, and just generally been a mess. Whereas they have been consistently moving forward, every window improving, playing better football. They are, without a shadow of a doubt, in my opinion, and sorry if this pisses people off, a better side than us and have been for a little while. Our record at the Emirates Stadium is appalling. We have won less games there since it opened than they have won at our ground since ours opened.
And theirs opened a fair bit earlier than ours.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. I think everyone knew that. But I, therefore, went into that game with an expectation of a defeat. Like, I know I'm a Tottenham fan, and obviously I want us to win every game, and I want us to go and beat them at their ground. And of course, that's what I wanted to happen. It was my birthday. I wanted it to be my birthday present. But I knew way before kickoff and the whole time since this game was coming up and looking at our form, looking at them, where they are in the table, where we are in the table, odds are we would lose that game. So losing 2-1 there and not getting smashed 5-1 like I've experienced several times at that ground, I'm actually not that bad. Like, I am not despondent. I'm not over the top. I'm kind of looking at that going, do you know what? Mental as it is, all bar the thickness of a post, that game finishes 2-2 last night. And we're all kind of going, oh, bloody hell, we took a point from there. How did that happen? So I'm not that bad. And like, I'm reading through the reaction online, I'm reading through like the comments and stuff. I mean, I do all the posts on the Facebook page, and it's something that just will never not cease to amaze me. Like on the North London derby last night, the interactions were probably the lowest I've ever seen us have for a North London derby on the Facebook page. Like, less than 100 people liked the kickoff post, which was like, okay, it was a page of 95,000 Tottenham fans and less than 100 are seeing that initial post. Like, okay, all right, fair enough. This is clearly way, way down. But, you know, Facebook's a wonderful thing with their cracking algorithms.
Oh, yes.
But then we score a goal. And I'm thinking, well, that's going to get interaction. Like, we've gone 1-0 up. It was against the run of play, really, but, we've gone 1-0 up. Surely there's going to be some sort of reaction. I think we had 3 comments, about 20 likes on it. I was like, wow, that's really surprised me. We concede an equaliser and then concede again, and the interaction on those posts goes through the roof. You're into the hundreds of comments, and you're into the, hundreds of, angry reactions and stuff. I don't think I could live to 90, which Tottenham won't allow me to do, and I will never ever understand why it is that people enjoy negativity and be angry more than they enjoy positivity. And I know I've talked about this on the podcast before, but genuinely, I'm talking to a couple of thousand Tottenham fans right now. Please message in and let me know your thoughts on this, because I am actually at a loss. There's loads of times I've been like, well, bad news travels faster than good news, and I try and be pragmatic with stuff like this, but it really pissed me off, and it really drags me down. I'm sort of like, I'm okay. I'm like, okay, I was looking beyond this game, our form and everything that we're going through at the moment. I was looking at this game like, if we could get something, that'd be amazing, but I don't think we will. 2 wins there ever. Not in good form, not with players, and of course we're in this situation now where everyone with eyes can see that the players who have stayed fit and not been injured are now fucked. Solanke and Kulusevski have got engines on them like I wouldn't believe, but the pair of them last night, you could see it clearly hit the wall. We're knackered, we're not pressing, we're not doing the work they normally do. I can't be mad at them for that. Of course I want them to be at their best in the North London derby, but I've got to understand the greater context of what's been going on, and they've been playing 2 games a week constantly and are fucked. I just look at it and I'm not annoyed, I'm not angry. I look at that result and I go, okay, alright, it's annoying. Of course I hate losing to Arsenal. I would always rather beat Arsenal, but right now the gulf between the 2 teams, if we played Man City at the when they're their absolute best, not currently obviously, and they beat us 2-1 at their ground, not one Tottenham fan comes away from that going, oh, it's the end, everyone needs to go, this whole team needs to be executed on the spot, the manager needs to be strung up. They go, oh, fucking hell, oh, well, at least we didn't get battered. And yet, because it's Arsenal, even though they're up there right now, better than Man City right now, everyone's kamikaze in it like it's the end of days. This isn't a game on paper we should have won. It just isn't. Right now, the gulf between the 2 teams is massive, and it was there to see. And so, I don't know, I'm going to hand it over to you now, because I've sort of said my piece, but I'm not that annoyed about it. This is where I thought we were, and that's where we are. And my focus is on the next few games. When I saw this fixture, it's if we could get something, it'd be amazing. But I was looking beyond it. I was looking beyond it to think, okay, we need to get on a run, fix things, get our shit together. So I was looking beyond this. So where's your head at on all of this? Because I know we're going to come on and talk about the FA Cup after we've gone through all of this, which is where we're in me and you are in a very different place, which should be an interesting for the podcast. But on this, where's your head?
Okay, so I'll start on your first point about the whole social media interaction thing. I'm sure I've mentioned it on the podcast before. I used to work in a restaurant, and on the inside, the staff side of the door that went out into the restaurant, it had a post, inspirational posters and stuff like that. Yeah. One of them was, don't forget, good service, they might tell their parents, bad service, they tell the internet.
Yeah.
And I think you're kind of witnessing the exact same thing happening with the social media page. We score a goal, people are celebrating at home that we've scored and talking to the person sat next to on the sofa about it.
Yeah.
We concede a goal and I'm going to tell everyone how I feel.
Yeah.
I think that's just an unfortunate mentality that has come with the internet.
Yeah.
People don't seem to put good stuff really online. People like to moan because they think that people care what they think.
Okay.
That's always been like when I was working in the restaurant, it was always like, you could give someone the best service ever, and they might go home and tell their friend or their parents they had really good service.
Yeah.
But if I knock a drink over by mistake on their table, or a steak comes out undercooked or overcooked, you guarantee they're going straight online and they're putting a review for everyone to see how rubbish this place is, because the waiting staff throw drinks at you and the chefs don't know how to cook.
Yeah, I see your point. Yeah.
And I think, that's I think very much kind of where, as a football team and supporters at the moment, we are kind of in this place of something good happens, we're like, oh, nice. Something bad happens, and you very quickly see all those people go online of clueless this, and I say the Ange Poster no clue. I saw that quite a few times last night. And the ridicule at players, and it comes out very quickly. Instead of that was a really good tackle by Jed Spence, like a last-ditch tackle. That was a fantastic tackle. No one goes online to put that.
No.
But I did see, the goalkeeper comes sprinting out of his area and tries to do something and loses the ball. Everyone online talk about this keeper's reckless. He then gets a bouncing ball and manages to do like a back heel flick past the defender, past an attacker. No one comments on that.
No.
I think that's just unfortunately mentality of the internet, as they say. As for the result, I got to be honest, I wasn't surprised.
No.
What surprised, disappointed, and angered me was the levels of the players.
What, last night?
That's where I think
you're talking about last night.
Ange came out after the game and gave his press conference, which the levels weren't acceptable. And I was like, that's what's annoyed me.
So what were you expecting?
So one thing I don't expect at the moment is, bless him, Archie Gray is an 18-year-old midfielder playing in central defence, and for the last few weeks has been by and large our best player. Him and Kulusevski have been our best consistent players.
Yeah.
And we've got Son Heung-min, who I fucking love, Sonny, who's on 200 grand a week and has been poor as anything.
What's his wages got to do with it?
I am very much not a Ange out person.
What's his wages got to do with it?
Just he is meant to be a world-class superstar on that level.
And he scored last night.
He did, and that was our only shot on target. After that was our second shot on target. We didn't have another one after that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where's the fucking, come on. You're meant to be our talisman sort of thing. You're meant to be the one. And
so what do you want him to do?
2 weeks has been poor. Okay. You know my feelings right now. I am very, very disillusioned with this squad. I am not seeing enough people kind of just last night when you're playing Arsenal, the team was so passive, and it was just like.
Do you not think they're fucked? Do you not think that fatigue's an issue? Do you not think that because they've been playing 2 games a week constantly with most of the other half of the players injured, not being able to rotate, they're just fucked? But because they're on mega money, they shouldn't be, right?
No, they should put fucking effort in, though.
But why? How are you saying they weren't? Which player last night did you see walking around? None of them.
Porro, Basuma,
That's
Dragusin.
bollocks. That's absolute nonsense. I watched the same game as you. None of them were walking.
The other flip side is we're going to go to the FA Cup a bit later, but if the 11 players on the pitch had put an effort in against a non-league team, more of our players would have had a rest for this game.
Yeah, well, on the like I said about the North London derby when I was talking about earlier on, me and you were going to agree to disagree on the effort last night. I thought the effort was there. I just thought it was fatigue. Ange's summary after the game, I think, was right. I think he's right to say it's unacceptable. But at the same time, I think the circumstances behind things are the reason why. I think that Pedro Porro has played himself into the ground and is now looking like a player that has been played into the ground. I think Gray is still doing very well, but is now also starting to look like he's struggling a little bit. I think the new goalkeeper did very well, but is going to get berated for playing his game the way he plays. But yeah, I looked at that last night and I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I was going to dig people out. I looked at it and I thought, this just looks like a squad and a team of players that look knackered, look bereft.
I've got to say, this new goalkeeper is going to give me a heart attack at freaking game.
Well, yeah.
I love his confidence, and he is clearly a very, very good goalkeeper. But my God, is he going to give me a heart attack again?
Yeah, possibly. But I mean, this is the way that Ange wants to play football, which is where the goalkeeper is taking positions of where we can press higher up the pitch. And right now, there is an argument, without a shadow of a doubt, that maybe we shouldn't be doing that. And in certain games, we have adjusted. And last night, we adjusted it. We weren't playing as high a line last night. But Kinski, that's how he plays. He'll get on the ball, he'll knock it around, and he'll freaking do a Cruyff turn in his box with a striker closing him down. Last night, he got clobbered a couple of times. Dragusin got in his ear, and he didn't do it again after that. That's kind of what I'd expect. I mean, he's 21 years old and he's making his Premier League debut in a North London derby at the Emirates. I don't think overall he had a bad game. Up against the set-piece specialists, his defence and midfield kept giving away set pieces. I mean,
that's frustrating as fuck.
I mean, it is frustrating as hell. And like I said, but again, this for me is another symptom of just fatigue, because the thing about fatigue that I learned when I was playing rugby to a level is not just physical, it's mental. When you are fucked and you're blowing out your ass and you are trying to get back, trying to do different things, you make decisions that you wouldn't make if you were fitter, clearer headed, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Like, I'm just going to stick my leg out. I'm just going to do this. Oh, shit, I ain't going to be able to get to him. I'm going to bring him down.
There was one, Kulusevski just ran straight into the back of Odegaard.
Yeah, absolutely pointless.
I can kind of see what he was attempting to do.
Yeah, but
when you are that close to the box, fuck.
Yeah, don't do it. Yeah, there were lots of examples of just tired looking challenges, and Arsenal did what any side would do and went over. And went over like they've been shot and the referee gave decision. And that's exactly what teams do. That's football. But the amount of corners given away that could have been avoided, and ironically the one they scored from shouldn't have been a fucking corner.
Wasn't a corner. Yeah, that was always the way, isn't it?
But that's just irony. And we can be annoyed about that because then they scored again really quickly whilst we were sort of rattled. But you can't point to that and go, oh, that's the reason, we were screwed. Because we gave away 9 corners against a team that scores, I think someone said last night, 1 in 3 set pieces they'll score. And we gave away 6 free kicks and 9 corners around, sort of around the box and 9 corners. I mean, you can't do that. I mean, that's just more you go into that game. One of the things that every coach should have been saying is, right, don't give away stupid free kicks. If you can, avoid giving away corners. Literally, if you see the ball going for a corner, boot it for a throw. Don't give them that set piece. Don't give them that opportunity. Because another stat from last night, they have scored from corners against us 4 goals in the last 3 games or something like that. It's a new Premier League record for one team against one opposition. So
that sounds about right.
So you got to believe that coaching and everyone would have just been like, don't do that. But when I'm watching the game last night and I'm seeing it all happen naturally, I'm watching it going, you can just see it's bad decision. This is bad decisions. This isn't me digging out the players for it. This is just, I think they're fucked. Mentally, physically, they look done in. And therefore the decision making and the oh, I'm just going to stick a leg, like, just going to do this. I can't get back to him. I'm just going to do this. It just kept happening. And it just kept breaking any kind of momentum we were trying to build and just kept handing them set piece after set piece. And in the second half, I mean, they basically are, it was, to me anyway, it felt like Arsenal just went, we're 2-1 up, you ain't going to score. And then we kind of, I mean, we had more of the ball, but just generally couldn't find any sort of creative thing. I mean, we brought on Maddison and Johnson, and, you know, you should have been seeing more creativity in that, a bit of spark, a bit of pace. But those two came on and looked like they'd already been playing, if that made. They came on and looked fatigued straight away, which I think is probably why they weren't starting. You know, like he's trying to rotate areas of the team where he does have the players to do that. But even because of the sheer amount of games that have come before. I mean, another thing that I read yesterday, which is from a pretty reliable source, is that there's 3 players currently playing consistently with painkiller injections because of injuries. But they can't take the time off because of the situation we're in. I don't know which players that is, but again, looking at this, you can believe it.
You got to say, Papa Sarr's got to be one of them.
I wouldn't be surprised.
He's got such an engine, and he is such an athlete.
Yeah,
but
and he
you
looks
can kind
dead.
of see about 50, 60 minutes into a game.
Yeah.
You kind of see it's almost like he just runs into a brick wall.
Well, a good example with that with him, last night was he took the ball around. It's in the first half, fairly early on. He picks the ball up in our half and runs past Thomas Partey like he wasn't there, and just burst past him. And I think Ali McCoist on commentary was like, "What is Partey doing? Like he needs to do something to get back to him." You watch that moment, you look at that and go, Partey's the fatigued, injured player, and there's young Sarr bursting through like nothing. About 10, 15 minutes later, Sarr wasn't tracking back. Like, he'd gone. Like that burst, or whatever it was, that was it. That was all he had in his tank, and then he got subbed. And I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking, yeah, he could be one of those players, but also just, like I said, all of them look knackered. Every player that has come through looks done in. Now, just taking a step back now, just from like Ange and the players for a minute, which, yeah, okay, if people just want to lay into them, fine, you crack on. But if I take that step back for a moment, and I'm the management of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, which is a football team, which is now, as much as people are going to roll their eyes, does need to think about being in a relegation fight. That has happened now. That is 100% something we need to think about. You are Daniel Levy, the part owner, chairman of this club. You're Lang, the director, or you're Scott Munn. And January is now. We are the 16th of January, so we are halfway through this month.
And we've signed a goalkeeper.
And you've added a goalkeeper. Which, okay, yeah, we needed to add a keeper, fair enough.
He does seem to be a very, very good goalkeeper. I mean, we have got 3 of them. I mean,
Yeah.
one is injured and one is Forster still ill?
No, he's back. He's just not
on the bench. But yeah, it was like when I looked at positions on the pitch, that I was like, crap, we need to get one in early.
Yeah.
Goalkeeper wasn't top of my list.
No, I don't think it was top of anyone's list, because I think Brandon Austin came in and did well enough that everyone went, okay, he can see us through if needed. But okay, all right, you've made that signing. Well done. You know, he's 21. He looks decent enough. He looks like him and Vicario. Yeah, those are going to be good options for us at goalkeeper. That's fine. That was done fairly swift, fairly quickly. We were linked constantly to this player at PSG, which we then failed to pull off. He's going to Juventus. But the whole thing about us being prepared in this whole new system and everything of all the data was, we had players for, these are like number 1 target, number 2, number 3, and if number 1 isn't available to us or isn't going to come off, bang, we move to number 2 and we try and get it done as quickly as possible. I appreciate the January window isn't the easiest, and I think everyone says that enough in football that I have to concede, okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah, January is notoriously hard. Like, if you're the difficulty with January is if you're able to buy a player, it's for two reasons. You've either stumped up enough money that the selling club can't say no to it,
Yeah.
or the selling club don't want the player anymore.
In which case,
So he
why
can
do we?
leave.
Yeah.
And if the player isn't wanted at that club anymore, you've then got to look at it and go, why is the player not wanted there anymore?
Yeah, which is why the lad at PSG kind of made sense, because he wasn't wanted because they were trying to fit a Champions League squad and he didn't fit into it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a case of he's so crap, we want a shot of him. It was,
This guy's a diva, he's asking for too much money, get him out of the club.
Yeah.
It was genuinely a squad limitations. Fine,
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
yeah.
But it's normally, that is very rare.
I will just say on that as well, it goes to prove again how sports reporting, football reporting can get things so horrifically wrong, because up until the day he was going to Juventus, the one consistent thing, all of them, Fabrizio Romano, all of the top journalists for transfer, was PSG won't let him go without a buy clause, won't let him go without a guarantee, not an option. They want a guaranteed.
Yeah.
And Tottenham are trying to get an option. That's why the negotiations are going on. Tottenham are trying to do this. Juventus have loaned him, no option whatsoever. It's just a straight loan.
Yeah.
So everyone had that wrong. Everyone had that wrong. PSG were clearly looking at it like, okay, we can't put him in the Champions League squad, so we want him to go and play. He wants to go to Juventus, great, off he goes then. We are not worried about, if he comes back to us next year, great, he's a good player, we'll then reassess things.
Yeah.
So where did that come? Like, was it all agents' negotiation tactic? Like a kind of, the club kind of put that out there as a, this is the other thing which is really frustrating, is agents, management, the clubs, people involved all leak things to make it public, to help negotiations or hinder negotiations, to just generally create stuff. And the journalists, of course, if they've been given that information, report it. But it was interesting on that one, like on the day, because I think in the morning I'd posted a story from L'Equipe in France, which is, to be honest with you, is about as reliable a source for any information in France as you will get for football. If they report
they're
it,
fairly spot on.
They're fairly nailed on. They're pretty good. And they literally said in the morning that he didn't want to go to Juventus, right? I had the story, screenshotted it so I could copy it across. In the afternoon, they updated that very story, and you can see on it, updated it like 15, whatever it is, and took out the paragraph where it said he didn't want to go to Juventus and replaced it with he wants to go to Juventus. So the question mark on that is that as simple as a journalist getting something wrong? You know what I mean? Like, someone's written it all down, like, oh, he definitely doesn't want to go. Yeah, he does. Remember he said that? Oh, does he? Oh, shit, I got that wrong. You know what I mean? And updating it. Or did later in the day they find out that he was going to Juventus and think, shit, we better change that?
Yeah, oopsie.
Yeah. It is frustrating because we as the page kind of like put the stuff out there. And I always try to be really clear, like, this has come from here. Like, I'm telling you where it's come from. I'm telling you that as the time I've posted it to the page, that is correct. Like, this is what they have said, correct in air quotes. But
yeah,
and then I
my source is not at Sam.Jones Spurs News.
No,
my source is
this is they've written this. Here's the article. You can go find it if you want. Google's your friend. But yeah, and then like they update the article, and then later in the day, I'm looking at it going, "What the all right, whatever." But back to it. It is massive mismanagement of a business, if you want to just call us a business for a moment, that you are allowing this to happen. If, like, so sitting back, right, you're Lang, you are Scott Munn, I'm going to throw Levy over there for a minute. You know the injury crisis and the issues the squad have had for weeks and weeks and weeks. You also therefore know, and if you don't, you can just check the old sports science data, that the team that have played consistently since then are looking run into the ground. I believe, because Ange has been saying it publicly, behind the scenes he must be screaming that we have got a problem here. Like, those that are playing are half dead. I've got an 18-year-old midfielder playing at central defence. I've got a right back at left back. I've got, I am trying to manage this squad as best I possibly can, but I need help. And he said it publicly. He has said, we need help in for Solanke. We need this. We need that. It is obvious to me that if he's doing that publicly, and he's doing it professionally, he's not like Conte, but behind the scenes, he must be, knocking on doors constantly. Hello, any news?
At this point, I think he's probably headbutting doors.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't strike me as someone who's backwards coming forwards. I think he will be very directly telling them, like, if
headbutting doors open. Will you sign me a fucking striker? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Love you. So what is going on? Like, do you get to the 16th of the month when... Because this is the other thing that bugs me as well, is the kind of Tottenham narrative that, well, the window... Yeah, it's only 16 days into a window. Well,
yeah, we only have 14 days left.
Yeah, but worse than that, mate, is there's nothing to stop you negotiating prior to January.
Yeah,
you can approach clubs anytime you like.
Let's look over at Liverpool with the whole. They've got 3 players out of contract.
Yeah,
and everyone's like, well, they can start talking to clubs as of the 1st of January.
Yeah.
But the Trent to Real Madrid rumours have been going on since September or October.
Yeah.
So clearly, people talk to people before the window opens.
With transfers, forget the tapping ups aspect of it, but just with transfers, let's say we wanted to sign a player now, but not sign into the summer, which we've done lots of times.
Yep.
You can talk to the club, like we can talk to them in September, October, November, and say, hey, we are interested in buying this player in January. What would be your condition? What would we need to do to tempt you to selling him to us in January? And if this club for 4 months have gone F off, like leave us alone, no way, then surely in your brain you would know that's not happening in January. So if we want to sign a player in that position in January, number one target isn't it. So do we wait for the summer, or do we move on the number 2 target and try it? It is phone call. It is not difficult to get to January 1st and be ready on that day to make formal offers because you've been talking all that time up to this point. So if you've gone like target 1, target 2, target 3, and target 3 they've gone, okay, in January, all right, in January you'd need to pay us 25 million, whatever, for this player. You then look at that and go, right, is that over the top for him? Maybe. How badly do we need him? Yeah, we really need him. Does he fit? Does he want to join? And then you start doing all that due diligence of Ange speaking to the player, getting his assessment, which is key to everything that Ange does. You go for all of that, and then on 1st of January, you literally whack that offer in.
Literally 5 past midnight, you can boom, there you go, there's your 25 million.
Yeah, 25 million, like we've been discussing for months. We're ready to go. The player's ready because he'll be primed, and the deal gets done quickly. So this is that's the thing that frustrates me. It's the narrative that the club put out always of like, oh, we've only had 16 days, we're trying our best. No, that's bollocks. You've had months. And during those months leading into January, our injury crisis and our issues have been getting worse and worse, which means surely the idea should have been coming clearer is that we need to be busy in January.
Yeah, it's not like they left the Emirates last night with a fully fit 15 players.
No.
Had a lorry drive into the side of the bus, which has injured 12 players, and now all of a sudden we're going, oh shit, we've got no players.
Yeah, exactly.
They've been dropping like flies for the last 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, exactly. And you're absolutely spot on with that. It's not like it's happened. It's not like the 1st of January, the team was in a bus crash, like you just said, and all of a sudden we got a problem, and everyone's been rocked by it and shocked, and they're trying their best, and everyone would be like, oh my God, well, they signed a goalkeeper fast, that was good. But it's not that. Like you just said, it has been months. Like from the season beginning all the way up to now, we have had a consistent issue. And, the medical team and everything's being overhauled at the club. Everyone's been sharing online the job advertisements for additional medical personnel for the first team, men's team.
I mean, that can't come as a surprise to anyone.
No,
like
no,
a player walks in with, "I've chipped my toe now," and they've been signed off for 3 months with a hip injury. Like,
there was
our medical team was horrific.
There was a video the other day which made me laugh that someone shared. It was a Blackadder thing where Blackadder goes in and he's got a splinter, and then the doctor back in them days says, "Oh, we'll put leeches on it. If that doesn't cure it off, we'll chop your arm off." And someone shared it like Tottenham's medical department. I thought, yeah,
That's so true.
that's certainly how it feels.
We're the only medical team where a player can go in with an injury and come out with a different one.
It was, yeah, a player goes in with one injury, comes out with something else. Like, I've
got a slight calf strain. Oh, go see the medical team. What do you mean they've broken their wrist? No, it just happened.
So, like, I am frustrated with the management of the director level of the club right now. That's kind of where my frustration is. I think in the moment I'm frustrated with players. So the FA Cup game at the weekend, I got frustrated and I got annoyed and I was angry. And at the end of it, I sort of took a step back and I was a bit more, I put it in a bit of perspective. Last night during the game, I was frustrated at different bits. Like, oh, come on, surely you could have done that. And like I said, at the end of it, I kind of took a step back again and went, they're fucked. That's me. That's my personal thing. You obviously disagree. Other people disagree. So that's fine. I'm just, I got the microphone. I'm talking. I'm just giving my views. So I'm kind of in this place where I'm looking at it. I'm frustrated with all of it, but I'm also taking a step away from that frustration in the moment to go, the mismanagement of this side for 4 years is why we're in this position. For me, from my opinion, is because this squad is such a mess, and the injuries that have happened have just made it worse, and that the inactivity is mismanagement. It is criminal. It is appalling that they've allowed that to happen, that you are 16 days into January and the only player signed is a goalkeeper, which, yeah, great, he's going to be a good part of the squad. But again, and I go back to this, he's 21. No one's signing that kid for the money we paid for him without thinking in the back of their heads, if he's really, really good, someone's going to buy him for 100 million.
Madrid are going to come in with an £80 million bid for him in 3 seasons' time.
Oh, mate, hilariously, there's a link already for him to Real Madrid. Like I joked about Archie Gray's learning Spanish, therefore incoming Real Madrid rumours. Well, Kinski in some interview was talking about, what did you say? I learned English and now I'm learning Spanish. And of course, straight away he said that and it was like, oh, his ambitions to play for Real Madrid. Tottenham's a stepping stone. Every European player knows, Tottenham's a stepping stone to Madrid. And I'm like, oh, wow, I've not seen that in a while.
Oh, that brings back memories.
Yeah, that brings back memories. Fair enough. Oh, fair play. All right. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It felt like that for a while, but all right. Fair enough. You're jumping off point to Madrid. Due to our special relationship.
So yeah, they bend us over.
So I said, I looked beyond the Arsenal game and I was looking at the next 4 fixtures. So we got 4 games left in January, okay? And so I'm just going to focus on them. Everton away, Hoffenheim away, Leicester at home, Elfsberg at home. None of this easy, right? Let's just throw that out there. But those 4 games, a fully fit, fully firing squad, from me, in my humble opinion, win those 4 games, okay? I would back us against the current Everton side, Hoffenheim, Leicester and Elfsberg. I would back us to win those 4 games if we had a fully fit squad, definitely.
Yep.
We don't, but I think, and again, this is me putting my head on the block here, I think if we don't win these 4 games, we've potentially got a massive, massive problem. The reason why I'm saying that is because winning, momentum and things in sport is massive. Like, it is so huge. People kind of, I don't think people fully realise how big it is. Like, you get on a winning run or you get stuff going. I mean, we've all seen it. We've all watched teams do it. But the mentality can shift, and where you are fatigued and feeling done in, all of a sudden you've got that little bit of energy again. Like, you've got that little bit of a lift. Oh, we won a game. Oof. It feels like that weight's off again. Oh, we won 2 in a row. Right. Oh, bloody hell. Right. Okay. Yeah. And we're playing better. Like, yeah, didn't we play well in the last game? And all of a sudden you win the next one. It is amazing the impact that has mentally, physically, everything. And these 4 games, I said this a little while ago about games coming up. Someone put a message into the podcast, if we don't win these games, do you think Ange is going to get sacked? And I said no, because I just don't think those fixtures are games anyone at the club is looking at going, yeah, we'll win all them. I think these next 4, if we let's say we lose these 4, he isn't going to be manager at the end of January, in my opinion. If we win these
I think
4,
if we lose to Everton and Leicester, I think we are going to, unfortunately, see the fans are going to flip.
I think if we lose to Everton and Leicester, I think he goes. I think he goes not because, again, this is my humble opinion, not because I think he deserves to go, but I think it's the only change this board will make. They can't just, they could sign players, but they apparently have no interest in doing that. They can do lots of different things, but now, in my head, what worries me at that moment is what happens then, because they'll put Mason in charge. Are you trying to tell me that Ryan Mason has the experience and know-how of a Premier League relegation battle? No, he doesn't.
I absolutely adore Ryan Mason, and
yeah, as do
I know 7 to 10 years' time, I could see him being the manager of Tottenham Hotspur. However, in those 7 years until that point, he needs to go and be a manager. If that is, I mean, I don't get me wrong, this is me just speaking as me. I don't know if Ryan Mason has said, I want to be a first-team manager, or if Ryan Mason is like, do you know what, I love being involved in the training and the coaching. I am really happy to be a coach.
So he has an ambition to be the boss, but he had an opportunity, he looked at a few things. He also, and this is something you'll see, the whole coaching team and all the players want to work with Ange. They are all loving the environment, they're loving the work, they believe in it. Like, and this is the other thing, like, I think you look at this squad of players and you can see fatigue. I don't think you see dangling tools, in my opinion. And I've seen that before. I've seen that where they are literally walking.
Yep.
Like, oh no, look, that player ran off me. I hope my boss doesn't get sacked. It is that blatant and that obvious and shit. And you're like, oh, well, that's it. It's done. Yeah, game over. As soon as you see the team do that, and then the fans see it, the board sees it, and that's it. It's dead. I think the reason why Ange hasn't been fired yet is because there's no hint of that. The players still appear to be ready. The ones that are fit are literally running through walls for him right now. They're like slotting in where they can, they're putting in the effort, but they are fatigued and dying for it. And
I mean, you can kind of imagine Daniel Levy or one of them lot going to the leadership group and saying, right, guys, we think we need a change at the top. Yeah. And them all turning around going, you having a laugh?
Well, QT Romero actually went public, didn't he?
He didn't, Romero, yeah, he came out and went at him.
Yeah, he went public, went to the board and said in it that, all right, you fire Ange, the next thing you're going to do is have a conversation with my agent about finding me a new club. He was direct, and, he's still out injured. And for all I know people have mixed opinions, but we miss him a lot. He is a very, very good player. And
he's also something that we are missing on the pitch a lot at the moment, of just getting the players around you to up a level.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he'll put in a block and then he'll go round and dig 3 of his players in the leg to be like, why am I doing that? Why are you not doing it? Fucking come on.
He also, and again, he makes Porro look good. Now, what I mean by that is Porro is a very attack-minded fullback, playing in a system designed that fits that. But he's been found out's a horrible way of doing it, but teams are targeting him because Dragusin isn't the same player as Romero. Romero has that ability as a player, which I always think marks great players. He just seems to be in the right place. Like his positioning, like Ledley King wasn't the fastest player. He had a turn of pace on him, but he just knew, like he knew where the danger was, and he would appear there, like by
I
magic.
can think of a few of like the great centre backs in the past.
Yeah.
You know, Ledley King, Vidic at United, Rio Ferdinand.
They just seem to arrive.
John Terry, you know, those sort of players who
not
didn't have pace, but were always exactly where you need them to be.
Yeah, and Romero, he just knew it, and he knows the position in a Porro. And if he saw him go, like he's gone in, you just see him like position himself. So if that ball was played, the amount of times Romero just picked the ball up, nodded it away, or took it down, played it, and he was just there. And so teams were like, oh, well, we can't, you know, that isn't an avenue of attack. With Dragusin and Porro, it's been an avenue of attack for weeks. And it's kind of like, okay, we need to work on that. But at the same time, they're different players, different strengths. And so and you know, Romero's got 4 years on Dragusin and is a World Cup winner. He's just a very, very good central defender. He is a genuinely world-class player in our squad. So we're missing him. It's no great surprise. Last season, Liverpool didn't have Van Dijk for months.
Yep.
And they missed him. Like, they conceded goals, which they are not conceding this year. Because they're missing a world-class central defender. So it is frustrating. It's frustrating because you look at it and you think, oh, if we had our players fit.
I know, and it's difficult for me because I am, this season in particular, so Manchester City have fallen off a cliff.
Yeah.
And everyone is like, oh, it's because they haven't got Rodri. And I constantly turn around and go, he's one player.
I don't see. I think there's a bigger explanation for that. But sorry,
a lot of the and like you listen to the commentary teams and you listen to people that I respect in the football. So like, I listen to the Rest Is Football podcast, Gary Lineker, Michael Richards, Alan Shearer.
Yeah.
3 people who I respect their opinions, and they were enough in the game at a high enough level. When they say something, I look at it and listen to it and go, yeah, okay, fair enough, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And they went on for weeks and weeks and weeks. They went on about, oh, City are missing Rodri. And I'm like, they might be missing Rodri, but that doesn't explain why Phil Foden now can't hit a pass, or Haaland couldn't hit a barn door with a manager. You know, like, and I always used to kind of laugh it off. And then we started picking up injuries, and I'm like, yeah, 1 or 2 players, it's fine. That's what you got a squad for. And now we had like 9, 10 players out.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, yeah, now that's an injury problem.
Yeah.
Like, that is a drop-off because we are not just missing Romero. We're not just missing Van de Ven, or we're not just missing Bentancur. Yeah. We are missing all of them.
Yeah.
Like that's an injury crisis that can affect a team.
Yeah.
And I hate the fact that isn't really being spoken about that much.
No, it's not. But I mean, sorry, just on the Man City thing, because I love your input on this. I think the issue's bigger. I think the issue's due to the court case. I think you look at them play. It reminds me of that Leeds United team. I think I said this a few weeks ago. That went from Champions League semi-final to relegation because all the players found out the club was in financial crisis and they were all up for sale. I think behind the scenes at Man City, the players think they've got a massive points deduction coming, so why does it matter what we do? You know, I mean, they're playing like they've got nothing to play for.
And I don't get me wrong, like, it must be, as a player, it must be ridiculously difficult to know that you can go out and smash your rivals 3-4-0.
Yeah.
And win. You could have gone out and won all 38 games of the season and been the first team to ever win every single game. And know that if that decision goes against you, you're still getting relegated.
Yeah.
Because it would have just gone from an 80-point deduction to, we're going to round it up to 100. Nice round figure. 100-point deduction.
But
they would have done whatever it would have been, and they get relegated. Now, I can understand that must be difficult to play at your absolute best, knowing it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that must be what it is. Because
what I think would be really amusing, it wouldn't be amusing because it'd be absolutely corrupt and terrible and wrong. But what would be slightly amusing is if this all comes out and actually Man City haven't got any problems. They've got a slight knock on the wrist, a bit of a fine because some of the fixtures were a bit naughty, but not enough. We can't deduct you points. And then the next week, you see absolute prime Man City 7-0 Liverpool or something. You're
well,
like,
that's yeah. I mean that. Yeah, I mean that would. I mean they're going to find out. So say we're supposed to get this decision in February or March.
yeah,
Because obviously if they are doing a points deduction, it needs to be before the end of the season. Now, because of the way the table's shaping up, I'm really hoping because that'll be another relegation spot that we're safe from. So that's fingers
that'll be
crossed.
Southampton guaranteed, Man City guaranteed. Ooh.
Yeah. Oof, there we go. There we go.
We're fighting Leicester and
yeah.
Leicester,
So we just got one spot we got to avoid. It'll be fine. It'll be all good. So we are going to talk about the FA Cup now. So what we're going to do is I'm going to basically just give a summary of where my head is and my head was. You can give your summary, and then I'm going to call you a plonker on the podcast. All right, you ready?
Yep.
So the FA Cup game at Tamworth, we went there with we started with a stronger side than I thought we would, but still not as strong as it could have been. My mindset on this has shifted over the years because I always used to be of the opinion like you're playing a team like that low down, play the kids, get the kids out on the pitch and you got the big guns on the bench if necessary. My mind is kind of shifted to start with the strongest team, go 3-0 up and sub them all because we can now make like 5 subs. Yep. So I think that's shifted my mindset. Like start strong, be 3-0 up, kill the game, and then bring on the kids. Do you know what I mean? Like and then try and go 4-5 or whatever. But that's kind of where my head is on it. So I looked at the team that he picked and I thought, yeah, okay, he's gone fairly strong. Yeah, there's a few players who are knackered who aren't starting. That's good. But this is by far and away strong enough to win this game. The one selection he made, which I did sort of curious about, was Werner at 9. Because I thought playing against a lower league team, Lancashire's your kid. Like Lancashire, I've watched him enough to know he loves a fight, And if you were starting him away at Galatasaray, it seems odd that you're not now backing him to start in this game. Then on the flip side, I thought to myself, you have to have in your mind Timo needs to score. To sort his confidence out, this kid needs a goal. And I remember us playing against Marine and Vinicius like smashing 4 goals like he was scoring it like the friggin' Bernabeu, celebrating him in front of one blind guy and his guide dog like he just scored a World Cup winner. It's hilarious. And I guess perhaps he was thinking to himself, against this standard of opposition, Timo could get a goal, get 2 goals, then I bring Lancashire on and Timo, walks a little bit taller this week and then maybe that helps us. It didn't. Timo just, went through 1-on-1 and didn't score past a guy who's a property surveyor, part-time.
Networking engineer.
Oh, okay. I thought they said he was a surveyor.
Oh, I thought he was a networking engineer. I thought they said.
Don't get me wrong. They tried to really hammer home the point they all had jobs at like Zara.
Either way, they all went to work the next morning.
Yeah. All in all, they're part timers, and really, and don't get me wrong, I've watched the best strikers in the world miss that chance. I have, but really, you'd expect a player of that level, Champions League winner, someone who's been around a lot, that experience, to slot that home. But of course, it's Timo, so it doesn't happen. Now, I am frustrated watching it because going into it, I am a Tottenham fan. I am now 42 years old after yesterday, and I can tell everyone that I've experienced that so many times before, of us being favourites till the cows come home and playing against a team that are part-timers, and we make them look good. Like, I also have watched the FA Cup enough where I've seen one of the best teams I've ever seen in club football in England was the Man United team, 99, and they won the FA Cup that year. But in the earlier rounds, I remember them scraping by a team 2-1 that were non-league, non-professional, like they were part-timers. And I watched players like Roy Keane and that look like gobsmacked on their face of what the hell has happened. So I know from watching this competition for like I said, I'm 42 now, a long time, that going to these non-league grounds and just turning them over isn't a given. It isn't like a God-given right. You can go there with an expectation, definitely, we should win. We are the professional Premier League outfit. They are non-league. And we did. We won 3-0. It went to extra time, which is ridiculous, and they could have, we could have well lost it at the end, which is ridiculous. But we didn't. We won the game 3-0, and we come away from it, and we're into the next round. But you looked at it, and like at the time, I am frustrated and annoyed. When I take a step back from it, I go, right, okay, that performance looked like a group of players, for me, who looked at that surface and were terrified of getting injured. Whether that is right or not, whether that is a mentality that you want to beat the crap out of them for, that is how it looked to me. When you look at the injury crisis at the club, the players and the fatigue and everything, that is my belief. That is my belief that that's what happened. They were terrified of that, just generally cocking themselves up on a surface that they felt they could get injured on. And because of that, the opposition were able to take advantage of it. That timidness, that kind of like, oh, I'm not going to go in on a slide, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. Like running on this, you do your hamstring. And one of our players has, Timo Werner, came off, he has actually got a hamstring injury, having a scan currently to check the severity. It is a common thing on these kind of 3G pitches and stuff. So that was where my head is, and that's kind of why I'm like, okay, it was shit, but we won. And I can understand how that happens, because I've watched the FA Cup my whole life. The key is that we didn't get embarrassed, we didn't get knocked out, we did win the game, and you go into the next round. Because no one remembers Man United scraping by a non-league team the year they won the cup, because they won the cup. No one gives a crap about that game. If they'd lost that game, people would remember it, but they didn't. So that's kind of where I am with it. Now, you took a very, very different view on this, and like to the point that I'm still blown away by what you said. So what's your views on it? That's obviously different than mine, and then we'll come back to the rest then.
So I didn't actually realise the final score was 3-0 until Tuesday, because I turned it off as we scored the second goal. I didn't even bother reading the reports. I was fuming. By the time the second goal went in, I just turned it off and walked away. I saw a team go against a non-league opposition. I saw Porro get run around by some bloke that works in Zara, who, in fairness to him, he has got to be thinking he's getting a contract at a bigger club soon, because he was a very good little player.
Yeah.
We had Timo Werner, like you say, a World Cup winner, I believe, up front, who looks like he wouldn't score if there wasn't a goalkeeper. And I have been a massive fan of Brennan Johnson since he joined the club.
Yeah.
And even I'm now getting to the stage of he needs to start actually, putting a sprint in every now and again. He was playing against a non-league defender and didn't even really look like he wanted to take him on.
Yeah.
We were passing the ball around like we had the mentality of, we're Tottenham Hotspur, you're non-league, we've already won the game. There didn't appear to be any kind of urgency. I was just getting so wound up watching the whole match, like us giving away like these stupid little passes that just went straight to the opposition, and you're like, why are you doing that? Like, the mentality there to come off the back of that performance against Liverpool to then go against a non-league team and basically just turn up and go, we've won this, we're Tottenham Hotspur. That mentality pissed me off so much.
Yeah.
And we've done it so many times this season. Crystal Palace haven't won a game all season. We'll knock 5 past them. We lost. Ipswich haven't won a game all season. We'll knock 3 or 4 past. We lost. Like, this mentality issue that we have in the squad, it's just infuriating is, I think, the nice way of putting it.
I think that's fair. I think the mentality does need to be questioned. Like I said, for me, I guess perhaps I'm being overly kind. I felt when I took a step back, because during the game, and I think before the game, I said the mentality thing is what worries me. Like, I've seen it loads and loads of times this season. I worry that we're going to show up against this team, act like Bertie Big Bollocks. They're playing their World Cup final. They're on TV. They're living their best life. They are going to be adrenaline fueled and come at us. And, you know, if we're not ready, this is how cup shocks happen.
The crowd as well. The crowd were living their best life.
Yeah, like every aspect of it is designed to cock you up. The FA Cup, the whole magic of the cup, the whole cup shock thing exists not because of stuff like this. Like, you show up,
famous banana skin, isn't it?
Yeah. You show up thinking we're the professional team, we're the boys, and this other team outwork you, outfight you on their dodgy ass pitch, and they turn you over. I'm gonna say, and whether people agree with me or not, you play that game on a standard grass pitch, I think we win that game in normal time, and the players look better. I think there was a timidness and even though the manager said it's no excuse, and I agree with him, it shouldn't be. I think there was an inherent, I don't want to get injured. I don't want to cock myself up. The way they approach things.
So we were talking in the group before I lost my shit. We were chatting in the group chat, and we were saying about, I haven't played a high level of football. I know that, but I have played the difference between, I've actually played in stadiums bigger than what Tottenham played in at that game, which was quite amusing. But I've played on the dodgy parks that have got holes in the pitch and molehills.
Yeah. I've
played in a couple of quite nice grounds. I've played on AstroTurf, like 3G pitches like they have as well.
Yeah.
I know for a fact on all three of those pitches, the ball is going to move differently.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like old Lego head up the road, but the ball will move differently.
Yeah.
And I think we said in the group chat, like, the crosses, the first couple of crosses that we played in,
just like
absolutely ballooned out to nowhere. And I was like, no, I can understand that, because on AstroTurf, the ball sits kind of on top of it, whereas in grass, it kind of goes into the grass, if that makes sense. So I can understand your foot kind of getting right under the ball, because you are used to having to put your foot under the ball to lift it.
Yeah.
Whereas you do that on AstroTurf, you're getting right under the ball and off the balloon goes.
Yeah.
I would then also like to think that after the third cross, a professional footballer can go, oh, wait a minute.
But they did, though.
It took a long time, though. It took a long time. That first cross went in and you go, oh, the second cross goes in and you go, okay. Like, by the third or fourth cross, you're going, fucking work it out, mate. Come on. It's not difficult.
Fair enough.
And that's where I was. That was one of the things that was like getting to my annoyance. Like, I can understand, like you said, the different pitches and stuff like that. But I'm like, fucking adapt.
So this is where I want to kind of wrap the conversation, because this is where we're at odds. I am frustrated by it, but like I said, I kind of took a step back and kind of looked at the whole thing and was like, okay, when that game was finishing, you were cheering on Tamworth to beat us.
Yeah, no, I was at that point.
You said, really, I've had enough. It's the straw that broke the camel's back. Come on, Tamworth. And when we scored, you were angry. And the fact that you just said then when we got our second, you turned it off. Like I said, 42 years old, I'm a Tottenham fan. I have been put through the ringer by this club. At no point in my life have I cheered on the opposition against us. I don't understand that, mate. I don't get that. I've been struggling with that all week. And I wanted to sort of chat it through on the podcast, because I think it's an interesting thing. So I think there's a lot of people out there who are feeling really frustrated and kind of mad about stuff right now. I don't get it. I don't get how we are that far. Like, where like you literally said, I'm not a Tottenham fan anymore.
Like, I did not see a player on that pitch in the Tottenham kit that deserved to win that game. That mentality shift between the Liverpool game and that game, I did not see a player that I thought, yeah, you deserve a win today. I saw a lot of players on the Tamworth team who literally said that was their World Cup final, and they put everything into that game.
So did you cheer on Arsenal last night?
In all fairness, I thought they'd scored in the 94th minute? I really thought they'd scored, and I think that was the point that I flipped.
Yeah, but were you cheering on Arsenal last night?
Oh no, don't be stupid.
Well, you say don't be stupid. You're literally cheering on the opposition because you felt that they wanted it more. I mean, this is the thing I don't get. Like, I get being frustrated. I get being like, and especially during games, like me and you, we talk through games, and then like afterwards we kind of go, oh, you know, right, get some perspective. But like Arsenal getting kicked off last night, and I sort of made a joke, and you were like, yeah, let's see what these overpaid prima donnas, whatever, do tonight. And I'm like, oh, don't fucking do that. I can't handle that. That's too much. Where's your head at with this? Because I genuinely don't get it.
I am massively disillusioned with this squad. Like the disconnect I feel is massive because I am just so fed up of this mentality shift of, you know, only turning up to half the games this season. Like the mentality between that Liverpool game and the Tamworth game was monumental.
But surely at the age you are, you've seen
game,
that
the Crystal
before.
Palace game, there's this mentality of we're Tottenham, will turn up and win. You've won one game in like what, the last 9? You do not have the form and the stats and everything else behind you to back up this kind of mentality issue that they have.
So where are you at then? So you kind of, the club's fucked and you're waiting for a new manager and try again, or what's your kind of where
I am not Ange out. I've said this multiple times. I am not Ange out because I can see what he is trying to do. Right. And with a fully fit squad, I have enjoyed watching his style of football. Like, I am one of the people that I know, God, you go on social media and I'll be called a happy clapper and an Ange lover and all this crap that seems to be getting thrown around to anyone that's not Ange out at the moment.
I think you actively supporting Tamworth and saying you don't support Tottenham anymore is pretty the opposite of a happy clapper.
I would like to think so, but you'll see it on the comments. I'll be called one because I'm not Ange out.
I mean, I've called you a few things this week. Not that.
Thanks, mate.
You're welcome. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm not Ange out. But there are a lot of players that I think need to have a very, very serious look at themselves.
Okay.
And sort their shit out very quickly. Like, I understand, 100% understand, like you're saying, like, you know, the club itself is in a bad place right now. Yeah. Like, Tottenham Hotspur should not be 8 points away from a relegation place.
You'd like to think
after more than 5 games of a season. You know?
Yeah, I mean, this is the worst, the joint worst position we've ever been in the Premier League after 21 games. And it's joint with 3 other seasons, by the way, 97-98, 03-04, and I think 07-08 is the position we're in right now. All of those seasons.
When was the year that Harry Redknapp took over? Because after 8 games, we had like 2 points and were sitting next to the bottom of the table.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was 03.
That's got one of those, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gone. I'm in a place with this where I am frustrated with a lot of stuff, but I also am looking at the bigger picture constantly. And the bigger picture constantly with that FA, like I've watched the FA Cup my whole life. I know those games happen. So I did go into it, and I was like, Dan and you and that were in the chat, like, oh, we're going to win, we're going to do this. And I was the one going, guys, it's not going to go that way. That's
the point. Dan owes me money. I haven't forgotten.
I was constant, and I hope you remember this. I was consistently saying to everyone, no, this isn't how it's going to go, because I've seen it before. I've watched the best teams in the league that have gone in the Champions League on a Wednesday, thumped Real Madrid, looked like the world beaters, named the same strong side, go to Tamworth and look shite because they've been caught off guard because they have arrived with we are Man United, we are Man City, we are Tottenham.
I know I go back to this game quite a bit, but I still remember Man United with Rooney, Ronaldo, Giggs, Neville going to Southend United and losing to a Freddie Eastwood free kick.
There you go. But so you've seen it as well. So you know this happens. You know, like, the very best, like, you're talking about mentality and stuff like that. That was a mentality machine, that United side. No one can ever look at Wayne Rooney and say, oh, that guy, weak mentality. No, but on a given day, shit can happen. And in the FA Cup, it is like literally on the slogan, FA Cup, shit can happen. That's literally it. Magic of the cup. I think that's the wording they use, but shit can happen is what I should say. And so I went into that game totally like, oh, yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be one of those where they might even score first and like the crowd will go, that's where my head was.
20 seconds.
Exactly. Kinski played well. I look at it and we won the game 3-0. I'm annoyed that's the first 0-0 that we've had since AC Milan in 2023. It's the first 0-0 in 90 minutes under Ange. And he had the look on his face. And by the way, I think he ripped them a new arsehole during that game and after. But he had the look on his face of like, in my career, I do not get 0-0s. And I've come here at a time where I've, been called a fat Aussie wanker for 90 minutes. And this is what you lot do for me. Thanks a fucking lot, Yeah, nightmare. But anyway, so are you a Tottenham fan again? Are you still Tottenham, or do I need to find a new co-host?
No, unfortunately, I'm still Tottenham.
All right, okay, so we'll sort that out then.
Unfortunately, yeah, still here. I'm still here.
All right.
It's I feel sorry for my daughter, who is now 2 years old and has a Spurs shirt. I do feel bad about that.
No, don't. We're not successful enough to add fans that way. We have to breed. So it's fine. It's all good. But look, that's the show. Thank you so much for listening. Hopefully this week is given a kind of a frustrated insight into all things being a Tottenham fan. We will be back next week where hopefully we're going to have some better performances to talk about. Like I said, I think these next 4 games are really crunch time for us. We need to win in the Europa League to secure an automatic round, otherwise we're going to end up in the playoffs, which is extra fixtures. We need to win in the league. Ange Postecoglou said last night the form in the league is unacceptable. He has called himself out, and he has called the squad out after the Arsenal defeat. What that means is he has now put his head on the block. He could have stood there last night and said, of course our league form's terrible. Look at the injuries. Look at the lack of help I'm getting. And moved the focus, but he didn't. He has shouldered it, and he has now put his head on the block. If this team, like I believe they are still playing for him, they need to show that this weekend. And we go to Everton away. David Moyes back there. It's not going to be an easy game, but we need to win. We must win. So yeah, that's the show. We'll be back next week. You all take care.
And come on, you Spurs.
Thank you for listening to the Spurs News Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Stay up to date with all things Tottenham. Follow us on social media. All links are in the podcast description.